Hello. Good evening. Another Monday night because I've missed another Sunday, so I'm still trying to keep up doing one a week, even if I'm a day out. But yeah, this is Monday evening's live stream. Hopefully tonight I'm gonna start working on a bit of one of the cutscenes where Tyler first arrives on the scene. So I've been continuing on with work on the game. I just haven't been doing live streams, so I got quite a bit done this weekend, setting up some bits of Act 1, a conversation with Justin, the delivery driver. Got that set up and reminded myself how conversations work. And I'm kind of just at the end of Act 1, where we do a cutscene where Tyler arrives, and that's the kind of break between the first act and the second act. So I've got some confusing bits to set up, and I'm gonna kind of jump in from where that cutscene begins, really, which is a scene which I maybe haven't even shown on the live stream so far, where you're logging into a computer. So I'm gonna crack on with that. Switch over to my other screen. There we go. So this scene is part of the end of Act 1. It's the computer that you've been able to see in that office scene for a while. You can see the whiteboard in the background. It's kind of a close-up, and there's like stuff on the screen. There's a selection of different things that come onto the screen. There's like a PC login bit. There is the screen's off. There's loads of sections to this that have got really complicated. So there's like a post-it note on the side of the screen that you pick up that Tyler's left on there. There's the actual screen on effect. So when the PC actually boots up, after you've managed to supply power to it, there is a overlay which is the login box where you need to type the password in, and then finally, once you've got logged in, there's an email that you read. So that email's got part of the story on it as well. So that's the bit where the player gets to kind of learn what they need to do next, really. So the hope is, at this point where you try and log in, without going into the story too much, we end up clicking this PC login hotspot, which is this one in the middle, and it runs this action list where there's quite a few different things. So it's to do with whether you've started or completed this puzzle chain. So if you've not started and you click this, then it checks that you've got the post-it note, and Clive gives a response. If you know that at this point you need Tyler's date of birth in order to log in, then it gives you a different response. And then once you've got his date of birth, there's a completely different response there. So 4 different responses, and then if you're complete and logged in, that'll never happen. Basically, we'll be taking over a cutscene from here. So what actually happens in this group is something goes wrong with the login, and then it plays this cutscene with Tyler. And the way that that's set up, the cutscene actually happens in the office, and we're in a scene called what's it called? PC. Scene PC there, at the close of the PC. So we need to jump out of this scene, go into the regular office scene that we've been walking through and doing loads of other things in. But then when it arrives in that scene, we want to trigger a cutscene with Tyler. So the way I've done this, there's probably lots of different ways around as usual. What I'm trying to do is I've got a global variable called play cutscene Tyler. And it has to be a global variable because I can't access the local variables on the office scene. So I basically switch a global variable to say play cutscene Tyler equals true, and then I switch back to the office scene here. So what will happen is when all of when that condition is true and we go through, it's going to jump back to the office. It's going to unload this scene. It is then going to load the office scene, which you've seen an awful lot of. You can see there's an awful lot of things in it now. And then when it loads into this scene, by default, when this scene starts, this on start action list there, I create an on start action list for every scene. So then you can pick up when we come into this scene. And what I'm doing is I'm checking that global play cutscene Tyler. If it's true, then we go into this Tyler arrives cutscene. If it isn't true, which is most of the time, then there's just all the usual setup for that particular office scene. And that involves some complexities with that PC screen, because typically you do this and then regret it. All the things that are on the close-up, like the post-it note, whether they're logged in, whether the screen's on, whether they're stuck at the login screen, there is basically overlays for all of those different things on this monitor, so that when you're at the full thing, it's showing the status of the where you're up to with that puzzle. So I've made life difficult for myself as usual, but that's the attention to detail if you've got a monitor facing in the scene. If I'd done the PC facing the other way, then I wouldn't need to worry about any of that, but there you go. These are the little details that you end up having to do. So all I've done just before I came on live, I was just getting Tyler ready. I've not done all of his animations. I've got some, which I think I might have done on one of the live streams. So I've got this talk animation. I've got one where he lifts his phone up. And then I've got this phone idle one, which, because he's basically not far off a teenager, he's just always on his phone. So when he's idle, he's kind of always looking at his phone. And then I've just created a standard idle one where he just blinks, moves his arms a little bit in between talking. So all I've done so far is just imported these 4 frames as a sprite sheet, dropped him onto here, resized him a little bit, and I'm kind of setting him up as an NPC. So I can, I've basically got as far as that. So I've imported his character sprites. There's live streams with this kind of thing on anyway, so I'm just repeating what I've done for other characters using this little NPC creator here. So Adventure Creator's added all the things we need: the NPC object, a circle collider for collide with other people, a rigid body, sorting map follower, and all that kind of thing. Sprite renderer, animator. This is his animator controller with his idle ready. These are all empty at the moment because I haven't got his idles in other directions, his walks and his talks sorted out. We're going to do that in a moment. What I need to do is get his talks sorted out. So I've got this talk down. It's imported ready, and I just need to change that into an animation. So usual format, select all of the frames that are on that sprite sheet, create an animation, animation clip. Let's call that Tyler underscore talk underscore D. So we'll have that in here. So this talk underscore D, we're going to supply that animation to it, and then we're just going to go into animations and just sort this out so that he plays a bit slower, and I think do our usual where I can't remember what I usually do, to be honest. I usually just double up a couple of these, I think. So we've just got a bit more randomization to the frames that it plays. So just grabbing a few of them. we'll see how it looks. We can always fiddle that round in a bit. I think that's what I did with Clive. It was so long ago, I can't really remember. But yeah, so I've got a selection of those sprites there as the talk animation. We have got it connected to his animator controller. You always check at the bottom here that oh, it's actually just behind my webcam. Let me just shift me out of the way. So right down in the bottom corner here where my cursor is, it just tells you which animator controller you're viewing, because when you've got a lot of them, sometimes they look the same and you accidentally end up adding an animation to the wrong thing. So just check that down the bottom there. So I'll just put my camera over there. So we've got his talk down. I haven't done his other talks. I'm just going to have him facing down for now. So we're going to shift him into position. We kind of want to make a prefab out of him so that we can reuse him. So I'm just going to drag and drop him into my prefabs to create the Tyler prefab. It all goes blue to show that it's prefab, and we'll, as we update his animator controller, we'll just update the prefab as we go, which you can do just by when there's some changes you can click I forgot what it actually says. It says something like save overrides or something. So as soon as you start making some changes to this, you'll get overrides appearing in there. Maybe not when you move him, that's one thing it doesn't override. But I need to put him in position. He's going to have come in this door. I'm just going to turn some of these gizmos off. Oh, I'm trying to get that on the screen at the same time. Let's find his hotspot. Draw yellow cube, just turn that off so I can see him. So you can see there where I've turned off the thing, there's a change to the hotspot, so you can then apply that. So when you load that prefab in, the show yellow will be off. So he's gonna, it's as if he's just come to the door. He's going to knock on the door, which is going to kind of snap you out of what's happened on the PC here. And then we're going to have that conversation with him stood in the doorway. We're going to set that up for now. So there's a couple of things that are obviously going to be really important here. This scene, if I click play on this scene with Tyler in it, it means that Tyler's always going to be stood there for the whole game. So we're obviously going to have to hide him unless we're running this cutscene. So the cutscene will start, you've been on the PC, Clive will turn, and then we'll have this conversation here where Tyler's text will be here, Clive's over there. We'll maybe even set up some dialogue options and show you how to set that up. So you can choose a couple of things to say to him, but part of this is kind of a cutscene, it's sort of story setting. But yeah, we'll get into that. So what we need to do is hide Tyler all the rest of the time, apart from when we're running this cutscene, and then we're going to hide him out of the scene. There's possibly a different way of doing it, using like bringing an NPC into the scene. It might be easier to do it that way, but I've not really done like NPC spawning. So let me just have a little look. What we're going to do is I'm going to create a new cutscene in this scene. So let's do that first. So a new cutscene. I'll just call it Tyler Arrive. And I'm going to sort some other little bits and pieces out. I'm just going to see if there is like an action for character, like to actually bring a character in. I've never done that before actually when I think about it. Because you might just be able to like teleport a character to a location. Maybe not. NPC follow. Oh, that's actually just to follow another character around. So I don't think that's going to be good. No, I think we're just going to do it the way I would normally do it, and if I find a better way, then we'll address that in a minute. So what's going to happen here is the on start thing will fire. Play cutscene tile is going to be set to true, so it will go over here. This stuff I want to move it out of here, to be totally honest. I want to put it in a separate cutscene, so the action is going to end up basically going action list, play cutscene, but I can't think where it is. Create things on hidden out scene set to. All right, yeah, using that to teleport them in at the right moment. The way I've been doing it with the other NPCs is I just have them hidden by default, and then I unhide them when they're needed. But yeah, it does mean they're kind of like in the way all the time, but maybe we'll give that a go. Maybe we'll just teleport him in to that location and try something different as you've suggested it. What I'm looking for is so what I'm going to do is actually just run this cutscene called Tyler Arrive, and run from the start and wait until that finishes. So we're going to do all of these actions that I've got here in this group. I'm going to move them across into another separate action list. Don't know whether you can actually copy things out of a... I'll tell you what, first of all, just so that it never triggers again, let's copy that. Yeah, I don't think you can copy things inside a... Let's just ungroup them, ungroup all of them. I'm just tidying stuff up really. So what I'm doing here is just unsetting that variable, setting it to false. So as soon as it realizes the cutscene's to be played, it then immediately turns it off so we don't forget, and then it runs the actual cutscene file. And then these are part of the cutscene itself. That was just a way that, oops, don't want to disable it, I want to delete it. So these two, cut them, close this, open Tyler Arrive, paste them into here. So we're kind of off on this cutscene now. Couple of things that I usually do if there's a cutscene is bring the letterbox in, just to tell the user that you're kind of in a cutscene and you may be taking control from them. So we can do that easily with the menu. Turn on, and it's called letterbox, and we can transition it on. So this will all run through when we start. What I want to do as well is in the on start action of this scene, I want to make sure the camera's off so we can hide, or we might even try your suggestion there, we try this teleport method instead and just have him off the screen and teleport him on. I'm not sure, but when this scene starts, the problem is it doesn't start from black. None of the scenes do, I don't think. So when we need to make sure he's showing or teleported or whatever we're going to do before the camera kicks in, otherwise he'll suddenly appear. So I'm not sure which way around it is. I'm going to just set the variable, the global variable for play cutscene Tyler to true. So we're in effect, it's as if we've come from the other menu, at the other screen, the PC screen. It says Tyler, what time do you call this? he's going to be situated here because he's going to have come from the other scene, in which case he'll be stood there when he arrives from the other scene. So that particular player start from PC, it's that blue one there. So just in the interest of us being able to kind of simulate where he'll be, I think at the start of this cutscene we will move into there, just so that I can see where the text's going to appear and all that kind of thing. So I think what I might have to do is, I want to do everything in this cutscene, so like showing Tyler and everything. I'm going to fade in the camera after I've done all of that. But I need to make sure the camera's faded out before all of this happens. So in this gap here, we're going to put Tyler appearing, which I'm not sure which way to do it yet, but let's have in the start scene thing, let's just have the camera fade out instant. So it basically means the scene starts black. We then need to, in every other instance, make sure we do fade the camera in. So camera fade in, and then run all of that. So it should start faded out. Got an itchy eye. Stop scratching it. Yeah, so that's good. It's solid black because the other one, the Tyler arrive action doesn't tell it to fade in yet. It's not connected up here. So if I connect that up, I don't know if it actually remembers them in play mode. If I, no, it doesn't. Right, so connect that up. So it should fade in and play. Yeah, so that's good. So that's the start of that cutscene, and the letterbox had come on as well. So before we fade the camera in, we want to get Clive shifted over. So we're going to do a character. No, we're not. We're going to do an object. It's a bit confusing, but object teleport is the player. We're going to teleport him to the start from PC marker. I'm going to copy the rotation of that marker. And then we're going to fade in. Still got to do the Tyler stuff in between, but what we'll do here is just check that he's in the right place. Yeah, so that's where the cutscene is going to start from. I've just noticed Tyler isn't idle. He's not running his idle animation. I need to work out why in a minute. So a quick look at that then. So why is he not running his idle? Oh, because I haven't actually connected his idle animation. That would be why. So I need to grab it. It puts it in a folder here. And is that his idle? I think it is. Oh, that's his animator controller. So his idle animation, I need to create that. I grab all of them, create animation clip. So Tyler idle down. Set to 6, so it's slower. just reverse the order of this. A couple of extra frames in it. There's a few blinks and things like that, so otherwise they end up blinking loads. I'm literally just messing up the order of these things so that it just gives a little bit more. Let's shift that into place. No idea what it's going to look like. Won't really know until we get there. So if I select Tyler here, get his animator controller. This is his idle down that should be running, and then we just drag that into there. We also want to make sure it loops actually. So on there, we want to loop that. And same on the top. Actually, no, I don't know if the talks do get looped. We'll see in a minute. Yes, they do. Otherwise, they just stop early. Need to remember. So his talk down has definitely got that in. His idle down has definitely got that in. Let's have a look now, see if he's actually stood idle. No, he's not playing. So let's select him, work out why. It's running idle up for some reason. Thinks he's facing up. Oh, we've had this before. Yes, we've had this before on a live stream. The default for some reason goes to idle up if you haven't set his facing direction. So I think the default is idle up, even though his entry point is idle down. So what we need to do at the start of the cutscene, before we bring on, before we fade in the camera, we want to set Tyler. So character, animate, Tyler. Actually, we don't even need to animate. We can just do face direction, Tyler. Facing down, make it instant. Let's just see if he goes to his idle pose. When I say pose, I mean his animation where he's blinking. There we go. Right. Yeah. So that's sorted that. Doesn't look great, but we'll work that out later on. So we now are in a position where this looks like we're starting our conversation. We just need to hide Tyler beforehand. We can collapse some of these out the way. So we basically want to unhide Tyler at this point. So before I do any unhiding of him, what we need to add, we need to add a remember visibility so we can hide him. And the visibility on start we want off because most of the time he's not going to be visible. Similarly, because he's got a hotspot, we want to make sure his hotspot isn't visible. Actually, let's try the teleport thing you suggested, Kyle. Let's see if that works. I think you still have to have a remember transform. Oh, there's a remember NPC. What does that do? Oh, I've never done that. So if you use remember transform, coordinate space, save scene presence, trivial scene. Right, let's just leave it on its default. Let's see if this works. So if we're going to remember his transform, then we're going to take him off screen. So you can't click on him, can't see him or anything. Let's just apply those overrides so he's always off screen. And then at the start of this cutscene, let's bring him onto that. That marker. Actually, no, let's create him a marker. Let's create him a player start. So create a player start here. Marker 2D. Let's create one of them. So marker 2D. Tyler arrival point. Let's drag that onto here. Oh, what am I doing? I've been using a different piece of software recently. I'm getting used to right. So, and this will also make sure that he's facing down because he'll inherit that down position. Pop him about there. Might be a bit lower there. It's just to see where he's going to end up. To align his thing with that. See a bit lower there. Yeah, wants to be up there really. I know where that other one is. Oh yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that before. Yeah, so stick a marker off screen and then just send them to the hidden marker to get rid of them. That is actually quite revolutionary, Carl. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, because that would mean all my NPCs and everyone just exist on a marker way off screen. Yeah, that's quite a cool idea. Well, let's try it out with him then. Let's have another marker. And let's call it, I'm going to use your word, banished. Banish off screen. And let's shift that one over here. So it's right up the way. And then when we're done with them, we can throw them to that. I'll have them facing down just so that it also puts down as the default. They get moved to that. So his marker here, we want to just shift up a little bit, up here there. So let's do that now in the Tyler Arrive cutscene. Let's do a character. Oh no, it has to be teleport object, yeah. Object, teleport, Tyler. Oh, hang on, why have I got Tyler and a Tyler NPC? Right, it's Tyler that I want. Yeah, it creates that NPC thing. That is the character name. So we definitely want the root, sorry, the parent. So the object we want to teleport is the parent, which is just Tyler. We're going to teleport to the Tyler arrival point. Copy the rotation of it. And then just hook it up to there. So that should bring Tyler on screen, hopefully. Lovely, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of neat. That, thank you for that tip. Because yeah, I don't have to hide his hotspot. Don't have to do any of that. I mean, in this cutscene bit anyway, it's going to be a lot of dialogue. So during the cutscene, I think I'm going to turn the cursor and stuff off anyway. I've made some other little updates to the cursor. I've gone back to using the Adventure Creator cursors because I can change the icons later. So there's a couple of things I can do there. So we're going to carry on with this cutscene. We've got the fade in there. We've got Clive facing him. We've got the first bit of speech. And then there's some dialogue that I need to write here then. So let's get Tyler's first line actually. So I'll duplicate after Tyler. Just going to set up a couple of these. Just copying a few of them. Duplicate selected. Yeah, they get messy, the dialogues. You'll know this from doing it yourself, I would have thought. When it's like tit for tat and people are having conversations, I wish there was just like a dialogue editor where you could just select who the two people were and then it was just line. That would be really handy, like a simple dialogue editor, because most of the time you've got a set of settings that you want to use and it's just line by line, but you end up with a box and a very complicated like node graph when really you just need 4 lines of text. So he says, Tyler, what time do you call this? Sorry, Clive. I was attacked by a swan on the way to the bus stop. It does become a rat's nest, yeah, it does, for something that ultimately is just some lines of dialogue. I just wish there was like an action that was just step-by-step lines of dialogue. It would be really, really handy. But we just have to deal with what we've got. Swan. So I'm making some of this as I go along, but I've kind of already thought about what this conversation needs to happen. So let's just test out Tyler. Let's test out. Okay, I've got a few lines there that we're going to go between. What I want to set up for him is dialogue color. Tend to try and match my dialogue to their hair or something on them. So he's got green hair, Tyler. So we'll kind of match his text. So it's kind of green, but a bit brighter than his real hair, just so it stands out a bit. Just apply that to the prefab. Let's just see if he actually speaks and his mouth moves when he's talking. Tyler, what time do you call this? There we go. Somebody Clive was attacked by a swan on the way to the bus stop. Swan? Stockton? Yeah, an angry little blight too. It stole my jacket. Okay. So we're going to do a break of the fourth wall, which we've been doing quite a few times with Clive. So this is where he turns to the player. So we'll do a character player, face direction, down. Wait till it's done that spin, and then just duplicate that. Weird, sometimes you right click and you don't get the option to duplicate. Why is that? Never understood what's going on sometimes. You see that? I can select it and there's no duplicate. It's selected like that, but if you drag select it and right click, then you do get it. I don't know why. That's not actually the one I wanted. Bollocks. No, duplicate that one, because that's a Clive one. Turns to the camera and says the things he comes up with, I never know when to believe him. And then we'll face him back. So it's going to face to the left, back over to him again. Every time I drag out a cable, and I'm like, oh, I just want to copy one of them, copy, and just keep pasting these down. So, right, now you're finally here. Can't log in to the PC. Taken me most of the morning to get it powered up. Live one's ready. All of my dialogue player speech ones are set to this kind of brown colour, but it is kind of again, it'd be useful if they were based on the character's speech colour. That would be quite a cool thing. So like you have all of your Clive ones blue and all of your Tyler ones green or whatever. That would be kind of handy. These are all suggestions that I'll probably make at some point in the Adventure Creator forums, but I'll just do Tyler's in green so I can keep track on his. Do you know what? So got that far. Right, now I can't log into the PC. It's taken me most of the morning. The amount of typos. I'm terrible at typing quickly. Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it, if it was just an option somewhere where based on the character you've selected, it just pulls through their text colour and recolours that. I mean, it sounds straightforward. It probably isn't. It's probably really complicated. Right. So the whole of Act 1, you're kind of sorting out some problems. I think I mentioned before, hoovering up a dead pigeon. You can't get the PC on. Tyler's used the cable for the PC for the kettle and blown the fuse in it. You switch it all over. You finally get to this point where you're trying to log in, and he's changed the password as well because the computer system made him change the password. So you've had this whole morning that's been a nightmare because Tyler's left a load of stuff in a bad way. So this is the first conversation that you've managed to have with him. So we're gonna copy that, paste a few of these Tyler ones ready. Paste. 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 So I've got a load of Tyler ones ready. I'm just gonna do the same here. Copy, paste, paste. Oops. So all of this is like part of a cutscene where the user doesn't get an option, but then I might replace some of them with some dialogue options at some point, just to give the player a bit more agency, a bit more like interactivity. So this has taken most of them on and get it powered back up. Oops. So he's going to say, yeah, sorry. The kettle was on the blink last night, so I borrowed the cable from the PC. And Clive, yes, I've established that now. You changed the password to your date of birth. How am I supposed to know that? And then this is where the misunderstanding happens. That's part of this dialogue. My date of birth. Oops, where am I typing there? Just typed a load of characters somewhere. But no, I left you a post-it note saying I'd changed it to my DOB. It's Clive. Actually, yeah, birth. So the misunderstanding is that he's left him a thing saying I've changed the password to my DOB, but it's literally changed the password to my DOB, as in MYDOB. So you end up spending time looking for his date of birth, which is in the filing cabinet, and it's just all part of why Tyler's absolutely useless and annoys Clive every day. So these are all like your first introduction to Tyler and kind of how annoying he is. So no, I left you a post-it note saying I'd change it to my DOB. Yes, exactly, your date of birth. No, like literally why? The way I've got around that is you don't actually type the password in. So there's a bit where you click the box to log in, and if you haven't worked out that far in the puzzle yet, basically says I don't know what Tyler's date of birth is. So the Clive, the character, leads the player to solve that bit of the puzzle, to get the HR file, to read what his date of birth is, and then when you come back to it, you click it and Clive's like, great, we know what it is now, and you see the like asterisks appear, and he hits enter and it still doesn't log in, and that's when this cutscene triggers. So just at the moment that you realise, at the same time Clive realises that something's wrong, that's when Tyler arrives. So this is all like linked to that moment. They're all pretty close together, those moments in time. So no, like literally, it couldn't be that. Answering my own question, just thinking out loud. Yeah. I mean, I hope most players see it. The post-it note says, "Computer forced me to change the password. Change it to my DOB," and then Clive kind of immediately says, like, "How am I meant to know what his date of birth is?" So then it leads the player to think, right, date of birth. They mentioned the filing. If they've looked at the filing cabinet, it says all the HR files are in there. So the player kind of makes the connection at the same time as Clive, or that's the hope anyway, that like plays well. We'll see when other people start testing it who don't know that, see how people respond to that. No, like literally my D or B, just 1, 2, 5 letters. M Y D O B. And then Clive's exasperated. I'm not quite sure what he's going to say there. What's he going to say? I'm still like struggling with whether Clive would say Jesus, Tyler. Let's just do that for now. Wonder how you get through the day. So, not sure where we're going to go from here. There's going to be a bit where this all... Basically, you end up being able to log in and read the email. So Tyler needs to tell you about this other email that came. So let's only wait at the bus stop. 1. Yeah, hang a little black 2. Things he comes up with. I never know when to believe him. Right, now you finally can't log into the PC. It's taken me most of the morning to get it powered back up. Sorry, the cat was on the blink last night, so I borrowed the cable from the PC. Yes, establish that now, but you could change the password to your date of birth too. How am I supposed to know that? My date of birth? No, I left you a post-it note saying I'd change it to my DOB. Yes, exactly, your date of birth. No, literally, my DOB. Just 5 letters. M Y D O B. Right, I'm going to have to make that quicker, that bit. Jesus, Tyler, sometimes I wonder how you get through the day. Right. So that automatically ends the cutscene. Once I've got his walking thing done, I mean, he's going to mention now about the email. So we need to get that email mentioned in here. Let's get rid of that question mark. I'm going to put all these into one. So y d o b. Just so it doesn't take so long to click through all of that. So he's going to say, "Oh, sorry, Clive. thought it was obvious. So does that mean you haven't seen the email? Oops, the email from head office. About manager of the month. So manager of the month, question mark. No, haven't seen any emails. Yeah, you know, I'm already there with that. He's basically arrived pretty late, just before the store opens, and it's going to be kind of a bit of a joke that Act 2, like he's barely been in and he goes off on his lunch, because I kind of need him out the way for a bit of the other narrative. So that'll be another kind of gag in it, is that like he's barely been there and he pops into, oh, I'm going to go out for my lunch now. And Clive just goes, yeah, whatever. And he goes out. So it gets him out of the scene for the bit where like the reveal happens, or the twist, if you like. So, manage the lunch. No, I haven't seen any emails. I'll get it logged in now, and then what we'll do is Tyler you don't like the email, something like this anyway. No, I haven't seen any emails. I'll get it logged in now. You'll like the email. I'll go clear up the Hoover. You get the store opened. So he's going to walk off at that point. So we're going to do a character move to point Tyler. He's going to walk out the scene. Now I haven't set up the scene edges correctly here. I need a new marker actually. And we're going to do something actually at the same time. So we're going to add an action, which is run in parallel. We're going to run two things in parallel. We're going to have Tyler start to walk off. And then we're going to have Clive turn back to the PC. The character. This direction. Up. Wait until he's finished. Tyler's going to walk out the scene. And then we're going to kind of end this cutscene and go straight back to the PC. So it automatically logs in. Just to save, I mean, I'm thinking that's probably what players would do. They would, as soon as you've got that bit of information, you can now log in, effectively saving them a couple of clicks of clicking on the PC, of then clicking to log in again. And also I'm controlling the flow. So I don't want them to then go and walk out the office and follow Tyler to see that he's not really on the shop floor opening the shop, because that's the benefit here. We just lie in the story about what's happening. So I want to constrain and control the play area to have them get the next bit of the story. So as soon as he's walked off, we're then going to switch back to the PC. So we're going to do a scene switch by name, scene underscore PC, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have to set up a variable so that when it comes to that scene, we get a new cutscene in that scene. So I'm going to do a variable set, a global variable. We're going to have to create it. Let's move that over. So global variable, create new. So PC login cutscene active. So it's false by default. PC login cutscene active. So PC login cutscene active. It's set to true as we leave this scene, and then we switch to the other scene. Might even just to add a bit more detail, because we've got the animations. Let's just have Clive. As if he's going to the keyboard. I've forgotten what his animation is. Is it called take? I need Clive's what his animation is. Is it oh no, it's not reach. I forgot what they're called. It might be the pickup up. I'm gonna have to find it. So Clive. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, it would be really handy, because if it is the player, if you click is the player, then perhaps it should be able to reference the animator controller. Then you have a drop down of all the clip names. That would be very handy, because I spell these wrong. I mean, you've seen me on live streams spelling these wrong or having one capital letter out of place. Yeah, it's a shame, yeah, that you can't just have a drop down of all the different animation clips that are there. So I'm gonna have to find Clive. See, I don't even know where Clive is in my stack of things here. I think it's in my prefabs player Clive. So player Clive controller, that's the one. So I've got these reaches, which are the ones where he reaches up in the air. Yeah, it's take. So take underscore up. Take underscore up. So he just moves his arms forward, and that might actually, we'll have him turn, and as Tyler gets to where he's heading, no, too much risk there. Let's do it that way, and let's just put a delay in there where we can use that delay. No, not a delay in there. I'm going to put a delay in between these two, so we can have Clive just raise his arms as we go out to the end of the scene. So Clive's animation will be responsible for triggering the scene change, and then it doesn't matter if Tyler's halfway out the door. So he's also not going to go out the door correctly because I don't have an overlay here. So I might fix that now as well because it's something I wanted to do for a while. So in the scene, where are we? Remnant world? No, let's go sprite locations office. So we don't have on the foreground this bit of door frame. We've just got that. So what I want to do is chop out some of the layers here. So it's going to be a bit of a hunt through the things that we don't want. So this shop scene in the background, we need to turn the lino stand off, shop floor, and the black. And then I will create a marquee and grab a chunk of all of this. I don't want the floor in this though, actually. So I'll grab all of that, turn the floor off. The scenes in pixels, they're only a couple of hundred. I can check. Yeah, I might have mentioned it before, but so edit sprite properties there. So the scenes there, 320 by 180 pixels, so really low res. And that's like partially a decision. I tried a few things right at the start before I even started the YouTube channel, like what size was it going to make these, what gives that retro feel. So yeah, 320 by 180, the shop floor's wider obviously, but yeah, 180 high, all of them. And part of that I think was driven by looking at what the original Monkey Island like resolutions were and stuff. Yeah, no, I'm quite happy as well with the way it's looking. What was actually tricky, you've made me think about this, is the PC close-up scene. It was too detailed, even at like 320 by 180. So I had to do a bit of a like hack with that. I'll load it and see. So open. So we've got the PC screen, and the PC screen's small. And it's because when I did it, let's turn everything on. I wanted the chunkiness of these pixels to come across, and of course like a standard pixel at this resolution why can't I see the pixel? Nope, don't know what I've done there. Let's come up to that layout. Yeah, so a standard pixel is that big, but it would have meant that this didn't look kind of blocky enough for the fact that we were close up to it. So I kind of made the pixels much bigger, and then that gave me a problem because the whole scene was too big. I needed to do it this scale because I wanted the email to be kind of in that pixel type style as well, and there just wasn't enough resolution to read it. So I've ended up making this like bigger scene, this bigger version of it, so that I can still have really small pixels for the text. I think it's one of these. It says text. Oh, certainly like even the word login there. So I needed the little pixels to make that look pixelated, because I'd kind of ran out of pixels at the other side. So the proper size, that's the normal size of it. Oh, now I'm confused because that still reads the same. You can see there it's got like less pixels here. or it's smoother. So yeah, I've ended up with 2 different versions of that just to get the feel right for it. Yeah, and that's the thing. It should still feel like part of the scene, but there's also almost like it's like a bit of a meta thing, isn't it? Like if I'm zooming in on a pixel art, like you're getting closer to the computer. Like would the computer have blockier edges because you've gone closer to the pixels? But yeah, all weird. Right, what I want to do here is I'm just going to chop the door into the foreground so that Tyler can walk behind it and walk out of the scene visible to the player. So I want all of that. I don't want this bit of yellow floor, but what I've done is I've drawn it on the wrong layer by the looks of it. And I don't know what layer it's on. It's probably on the walls. Yes, it is. So let's sort that out first because that's just sloppiness that's going to cause me headaches later. So just go to walls, get the eraser, make it bigger, rub that out, sample the colour, go to the floor, shop floor. Yeah, you can see there's I've basically messed up my thing and then drawn it on the wrong thing. So let's just go back to floor and just paint that in. That's not it. So we haven't got a gap. Right, just fixes that. So then hide the floor, hide the shop floor, go to the walls layer. These 2 purple lines have been there forever. Let's fix them while we're there. That's because I drew it all on a light colour background originally and there were pixels that were showing through. Let's tidy it up while we're here. Not that it's going to matter in a second because we're going to bake 2 layers together. So I need to chop that out. Marquee at the top of the door, right the way to there. We're going to copy merged, or is it just the walls? Yeah, because I need this calendar on it as well. Is the calendar a separate item? Calendar is a separate item there. So let's just squish these together. What did I just do? Flatten. When I say merge down, that should merge those 2 in there. Walls. Right, I can see another problem. Don't want to get that floor for you sign, but make sure I've got the top of the door for it. Lovely. That should be it. So it's just the walls layer. I'm going to copy that out of the walls layer. We're going to go up to the foreground. We're going to create a new layer there. Wall and doorway. I'm going to paste it into there. And now when we hide the walls, in fact, walls, lino stand, shop floor, floor, black. Well, hopefully it's making sense to you. We've now, if I hide the whole backdrop, yeah, we've got this as part of the foreground, so Tyler can walk behind the door frame. So I just need to re-export the foreground. I did exactly the same with that door frame there, so you can walk into the store and it goes behind the wall. I just hadn't done that left-hand side one, so we need to export that whole thing. So file, export as 100% visible layers forward, canvas, choose the file, into sprite, rooms, office foreground, save. Yes. Think for a moment, export. Come back into here, click on it, it should automatically update. So what we need to do now is we need to set up a off-screen marker. I'm not going to use the one we put up there because I want him to get there fairly quickly. He's just going to walk out of there. So let's create a new marker 2D, and just call it Tyler leave point. Grab hold of it, move it over there so it definitely goes just about off screen. And then when he gets there, we are going to leap him to there so he stays off screen, and he must remember to do that, otherwise he'll just appear here again. So let's go back to the cutscene. There's all the dialogue. He wants to walk to the Tyler leave point. He's going to path find, he's going to get there, and when he gets there, actually we want to make sure that let's not wait until he finishes. Yes, let's wait until he finishes. It's like one of these things has to control it. It's much more important that we hide Tyler than we get Clive's hands lifting at the right time. So once he gets there, we'll put a weight in if we need it. We then want to do object, teleport, Tyler to that banish off screen. Yeah, so that'll get Tyler off the screen. And then when we know he's safely off the screen, we'll then shift scenes and it should remember his position for next time we come in, which is off the screen. So I'm taking your advice here, Kyle. This is going to work absolutely fine. And yeah, it's just this bit where we're probably going to have to wait for him to be walking. So we'll maybe just wait. I don't know what we'll do. I'm going to just re-hook up these a little bit. We're going to have it go to there. And then when he gets to the end of his path, so when he gets to the end of his path, we're going to have wait for 1 second, banish him, and then get out the scene. And in that 1 second, we're going to face Clive upwards, get him to raise his hands, and then the scene will be loading by that point. I think will that be, yeah, and then we'll be into the PC scene, and this cut scene in the PC scene we need to set up. So quite a lot going on there. There's going to be a lot of conversation. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a way to skip around the conversation. Let's just go from there straight down to that to save having to run through it all. So let's test that out. Is it up? It's 9 nearly. So there's our chat, a couple of steps of that. Right, He walked to a very strange place there. I don't know why he didn't walk off the scene. He's walked down. Definitely saw Clive's hands come up. He's gone behind there, but we haven't loaded the next scene. So something's gone wrong. So we need to look at that. I think a couple of things might be going wrong here. This action list, which is being run from here, we just want to make sure that that isn't causing an issue there. Why did he go all the way down here? That's strange. Definitely headed downward. Oh, weird. Right, look at what's going there. So it does that. Swan in Stockton. And a little blighter. Because of the nav mesh? Possibly. Yeah. You could be right. Yes, it is. So the nav mesh is constraining his proportion, his things there. So actually, now that I've put this door frame in, because I was thinking whatever I do with the nav mesh is obviously going to affect Clive unless I switch nav meshes for this, which I don't want to do. But I'm glad you've mentioned it. That is a good fix. So now I can actually just move the nav mesh beyond, so even Clive leaves the door now that I've brought that to the front. So let's fix the nav mesh. Walkable. So we'll take that off the scene. Just give it a little bit of depth there so you can definitely get to that walkable point. And then just to take advantage of that, exit to shop floor. We can actually push that a bit further over so it looks like Clive leaves the scene. And similarly, when he comes in from player start from floor, we can move that a little bit further back. Let's give that a go. Nice spot, Kyle. That might have had me scratching my head for a while. Yeah, they could, you're right. I just wonder how far along it is. Let's have a look. See, yeah, so he definitely goes the right way. Yeah, still not loading the PC scene, which I'm not entirely sure why. I'll go with that in a sec. Yeah, I think this is a bit deep for it. I'll leave it as it is for now. I've got two separate things to, because they're not going to affect Clive's compared to his. But what is happening that I'm unsure of is why it's not loading the scene. So scene underscore PC. Let's just check that's what it's actually called, because we've had this before. So build profiles, scene underscore PC. That is what it's called. No, it's yeah, it was a good suggestion, because they are both effectively out the door. But I know sometimes when you click on a door to leave the room, if the character goes beyond that and it doesn't load the scene until they're well out of sight, I don't know, I prefer it the other way around, I think. but I appreciate the suggestion. So why aren't we switching scenes here? Oh, because I haven't actually hooked it up. Aha. So that's why it's not switching scenes. In all my messing about with those lines. It's whether or not this one is a long enough time to wait. Look. Don't call this one. Off he goes, turn, press. Brilliant. And we're back to that scene. Yep. Hello, Voltic Fist. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I think you're right, Carl. I mean, it certainly wasn't a bad suggestion. Thank you very much. Your first time on the stream, welcome. Some of the other things I'm going to have to think about here is this cutscene has still got the letterbox on, which is going to be all right. But I need to remember to take that off. And we also need to make sure that the Office PC is in the right state. Now, I'm running the game from a point where I've obviously got this variable set that we're just testing with. So the play cutscene, Tyler arrive. I'm going to turn that back off. The game state at the moment isn't at a point where the Office PC is on. So that state is completely different. Oh, thanks, Voltic. Glad you've joined it. I have got another viewer. I stream through Twitch onto YouTube, so this is going out live on YouTube as well. And some of the other followers on YouTube are in the YouTube chat. I get to see a combination of both streams from Twitch and YouTube. But yeah, it's a shame that it doesn't work the other way. So unfortunately, Voltic, you can't see the things coming from YouTube. I do have a way of sharing that, but I have no idea how to quickly set that up. But yeah, if you want to follow on YouTube, it's at Andy Liddell. There should be some links, I think, on the Twitch channel. Yeah, would really appreciate any follows, subscriptions on YouTube, completely free on YouTube. So yeah, you come along and watch from YouTube if you prefer that, and then you can engage with Kyle and a couple of other people who turn up to the streams on YouTube as well. So yeah, I'll crack on because I'm trying. Hopefully, I'm going to finish in half an hour because I've got work in the morning. So this should be in a position where it's lit up and ready to log in, but there would be a series of different things that would have happened to get us to that point, like turning it on and powering it up and everything else that's in that scene. So what I'm going to do is, in the PC close-up scene, scene PC, like this is the status we should be in, where it's powered up. It's got the login box. We've done all of that. What I'll do is just thinking as I'm clicking. The game is about a carpet shop. This is going to seem strange to Kyle, who's on YouTube, who might think I'm mad talking to somebody who doesn't exist, but I assure you someone on Twitch is asking about something. Yeah, the game is about a carpet shop. You can see some of the graphics there. So there's a variety of different things going on in this carpet shop, but it is like a retro pixel art point and click adventure game with a variety of different characters, locations and things. It's not all set in the carpet shop. Oh, I'll put this full screen so you can have a quick look. Game, player maximised. I've got some variables set up in strange ways at the moment, so this probably won't react as it needs to, but so this is Clive, the main character. This is his beautiful carpet shop, and it's kind of a bit of a piss take of like middle-aged men in their 50s who work in carpet shops who take carpet far too seriously. And he has a 18-year-old assistant called Tyler who is worse than useless. And there's loads of things that Tyler's left in a bad state the night before that you've got to sort out before finding a email from head office that effectively says you've been nominated for Manager of the Month, and that's very exciting to Clive. So there is a couple of things you've got to do to sort out the shop before the team who are coming to judge you to see if your Manager of the Month material arrives. So you've got to sort some things out. And then there's a sudden twist and all is not as it seems. And as of yet on the stream, I've not really talked about the twist because the twist is like the key like weirdness to the game when everything gets a bit strange. But then, yeah, you end up going to some other places, including a soft play area at night that's closed down. So, yeah, that's kind of a bit of what the game's about. On YouTube, Voltic, if you have a look on the YouTube channel, it is, let me see if the YouTube channel is, there we go, Adventure Game Dev on YouTube. There is absolutely loads of tutorials on there, live streams of the other stuff that's gone on. So yeah, I'd be more than happy if you followed and subscribed on YouTube, and then you'll get notifications of the other ones that are happening. So all the creation of the whole game so far is on there, right from the very start, first backgrounds and things like that. Herbie Hoover, no likeness to Harry at all. I like it, Kyle, on YouTube. Let's do that, because I never did get round to naming the Hoover. So let's call him Herbie. Let's do that right now before I forget. So there is a couple of hotspots in here. So the Hoover. And yeah, just for your information, Voltic, I take suggestions in the chat as we're making things. People have been involved in naming various characters and stuff like that. And the Hoover we left the other week without a name. It can be called Hoover, and then when you talk to him, there's the dialogue. My trusty Suckermatic 3000. Let's call him Herbie. Herbie has served me well for many years, but it's certainly the first time he's sucked up a pigeon. That's how the game starts. He's sucking up a dead pigeon. So what we want to do at that point is change the hotspot. I just want to change the name of it, actually. Rename. There we go. So we're going to rename Hoover to Herbie. At that point in the game. So let's just try that out. Yeah, like Herbie goes bananas. But also so we don't get sued by Henry Hoovers. It's a Herbie Hoover now. So, I'm just wondering actually between scenes whether you need to remember a hotspot name. So he's called Hoover. You click on him. My trusty Suckermatic 3000. Herbie has served well for years, but certainly the first time he sucked a pigeon, and then he should be called Herbie from that point forward. But let's just check. If you go to the office and come back, he gets called Hoover again. So we just need to remember his name here. So in hotspot, add component, remember hotspot. And I assume the name of the hotspot, unless there's a remember name, There is a remember name. Right, well, we'll remember them. Test, test, test. This is the joy of game development. If you don't test it now, I'll just find it as a bug later. So Herbie gets renamed to Herbie. Leave the scene. Come back again. He's still called Herbie. Lovely. Sorted. Yeah, no, it's handy that, Kyle, the being able to rename hotspots. A good way for when like you don't know what something is, like weird mark on the wall, and then you look at it and it says, oh, it looks like it's a drawing of a tree, and then you can change weird mark to a drawing of a tree. So yeah, good for when people are learning things about what's in the room. I think I've only ever used it once or twice before in Polycity Stories, where yeah, I had lots of very specific 3D objects that needed to change their names when you apply something to something else and it becomes a different object. I did the whole conversation the other night with Justin Time, the delivery driver, and the box of things that's arrived. So I wrote the dialogue for that and did that conversation the other day. So there's a cutscene here, which is a delivery cutscene with conversation options, dialogue options that pop up. Yes, including Justin eating a dodgy kebab. It's travelling with a carrier bag and a spare pair of shorts. There's like loads of funny dialogue in amongst that conversation as well. Right, I must get back to this PC scene, so let's save that scene, reload, scene PC. So this is the email that he needs to read. Yes, we've all been there, dodgy kebab. Next day belly. Hello there, Bandbites Games. Yes, I am on the wrong day. I stuck a message on YouTube. My Sunday evening live streams on YouTube, the last 2 weeks I've not managed to do them just because life really, there's been other stuff on. So yeah, whenever I'm missing a Sunday night, I'm trying to do the Monday night just for an hour or so. But I am approaching the end really. It's 20 to 10 now, so I'll have to I mean, at the end of all these live streams, this is the life of doing this. As soon as I finish the live stream, I've then got to type in loads of stuff about the description of the live stream in order for it to go as a recorded stream on YouTube. No idea what happens on Twitch. Maybe Voltix can have a look at the Twitch. I pay for like the level up of standard so that it then records them and pushes those onto Twitch and they stay on Twitch, I think. Paying for that, so I think they do. Whereas on YouTube I have to actually set them to publish the live streams. So if you don't catch me live, it's usually the next day that I push it up as recording. But if I get a chance on the evening, I'll do it. But in order to do it, I've got to create a thumbnail, I've got to write a description, I've got to do all of that in order to make the live stream a recorded live stream. So if I finish at 10 o'clock in 20 minutes, then I'll try and get that done. So that Bandbites Games, which, sorry, Bandbites Games, I've forgotten your real name, but maybe I'll watch back from the start of this one. But I'm determined to get this scene finished here. So we have got a new variable, which is a global variable called PC login cutscene active. We're going to make it active here, so then we can run this other cutscene. So let's create a new cutscene called reading email, and then on the on start thing we're going to check that, shift all of these across, do a variable check of that global variable called PC login cutscene active. If it's true, we're going to run our cutscene called reading email, and if it's not true, we're going to come into the scene as usual. Well, in fact, actually, I might need all of this to run first. So yeah, because this sorts out what's visible on the screen, whether you're logged in, whether the login box is visible, whether the post-it note's visible. So all that needs to happen as well. So let's do a run in parallel. So add action, action list, run in parallel, bring that into there. And 2 parallel chains, one that checks the variable, runs the cutscene, and one which checks all the status of everything else. Hope that's going to work. Only one way to find out. If I run this scene from here without it set. Chris, that was it. Sorry, I was going to say Chris. I know that's going to sound like a lie, but I was then thinking of Chris who makes Adventure Creator Studio. But yes, Chris, welcome back to the stream. So the PC's off and everything because we haven't gone through the puzzle chain to get the PC on and logged in. So we're just going to need to switch some variables to put us in a state where we're logged in. There's a brilliant thing in Adventure Creator, but I think it's not particularly well implemented. It just doesn't work in my brain. So all of these variables, you can set a preset. So you can basically, I could create a preset which is a point in time in the game where all of these variables are at particular states, and it really confuses me every time because every variable, so like this PC login screen active, down here you've got the ability to set whether this is true or false for any of those presets, and it feels like backwards to me. I don't know why, but it always confuses me. So the preset, effectively, you dial in the preset here, and then it can switch loads of different variables by just changing the one preset to kind of effectively jump you to a certain point in the game. But it just takes so much brain power to think of what each variable would be at this moment in time when I'm wanting to test the PC, that I end up getting super confused with it. It's partially why I came up with these variable switches for my puzzles. So like PC power, it's got a load of different states, like these different values, like not started, you know it needs power, it needs a cable, it has the correct cable, the cable is plugged in, it's complete, and the PC's on. So for me, I can kind of set that to complete PC on here manually, or I could create a new preset that does this and a couple of other things in the preset. Let's try using the preset because it's what you're meant to do. So this new preset, let's call it PC ready to log in, because at that point there is loads of things set up. So puzzle light bulbs, if the PC is ready to log in, they will have completed the bulbs. If the PC is ready to log in, they will have played the intro. If the PC is ready to log in, then that puzzle for PC power is complete and the PC is on. Puzzle PC logged in. He has Tyler's date of birth at that point. So I'm having to think through every single variable in the game and set it for that thing. But it does mean then I'll have a little drop down of a preset that would bring me to this point in the game, which is useful. It just always does my head in trying to sort it out. So I don't need to worry about post-its found because I haven't actually implemented that in the end. I'll be able to get rid of that one. Play cutscene, Tyler arrive. So we will have done that. PC screen status will be on with login at this point. NPC Wendy it'll be false. Justin, it'll be false. Puzzle Big Box. Oh, that'll be not started, yeah. Remove fuse from the fan cable. That'll be done. The delivery cutscene. Oh, that's one where I use it as a switch, so I don't need to set that. And PC login, cutscene, active. It's true. So, that preset now, I should be able to set that. Yeah, thanks, Voltic. That is, it's nice, nice feedback. Really hard to talk whilst I'm doing it at the same time. Yeah, no, I get exactly the same thing. Just for the benefit of those on YouTube, someone on Twitch was saying, I love the way you talk while you're still doing it and narrate what you're doing and don't forget what you're doing. But yeah, if you watch a few more live streams, Voltic, I do quite often forget what I'm doing and then go, what was I doing? But my hope is that if this is correct, in theory, as Kyle just said on YouTube, if I leave this PC ready to log in and click play, it should set all those things to the things that I set, and we should see the screen on and ready to read the email. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? Right, and this is the bit that always gets me. So let's, I don't know where you choose this drop down. So it's obviously in a state now where you can look at all the variables and they're not correct. So showing runtime variables. So if I go like that, oh yeah, bulk assign. So you have to be in play mode. So if you go PC ready to log in and go bulk assign, they all then suddenly change. So that's just assigned all the variables. But what's really annoying is I need those variables to be set before I come into this scene, because it's the scene start thing that does it. So are they all set now? Cutscene delivery false. Yeah, no, it's only during playback. Yeah, this is why I knew I'd thought this through before. This is why I think it's badly implemented. I want to be able to bulk assign them all now when I'm not in play mode. So I want to say, right, okay, I want to set them all to this, assign them all to my setup. And you can't do it unless you're in play mode. I don't understand why. Because what we're going to have to do is something really silly, which is we're going to have to come back to the office scene. I have to start playing it from here, and I've already fiddled a load of variables manually so that this cutscene starts. Oh no, it doesn't, because I've just turned it off, haven't I? So set that to true. So this should fire up the cutscene with Tyler. And while this cutscene is running, if I bulk assign all those variables now, then when this cutscene finishes and Tyler leaves the room, right? Yeah, so it's brought us to that position. Oh, thanks, Voltic. Really appreciate that. Thanks for the subscribe as well. Yeah, and I hope the channel keeps growing as well. It's really tough to grow a YouTube channel, but yeah, I am putting a lot of effort and time into doing this, and as it says on the YouTube channel, trying to do this start to finish, watts and all. It's not going to be quick because I'm doing this part-time, but yeah, cheers. Really appreciate the subscribe, and yeah, hopefully see you again on another stream. So a couple of things have gone. Oh, there we go. There's Voltic on YouTube, joining the other couple of guys who are on the YouTube thing. So Kyle, Chris, say hello to Voltic. Right, so some things have worked, some things haven't there because it is not, the screen should be blue. So there's a couple of things not fired off properly there. So I'm not quite sure what is causing that to not work. But as I said, it's kind of frustrating that I shall probably be my usual cheeky self on the Adventure Creator forums and drop a little message into Chris as a feature request, which I've done a few of recently, which has just been able to hit that bulk assign button while you're in edit mode, because that would just be helpful. You can switch all the variables quickly and then click play so that your scene start then takes into consideration what you've set them to. So unfortunately, the only way I can remedy this now, because I do need to kind of finish at 10 o'clock, is go into Scene PC, manually set some of these. So the PC screen status should be initial value we're going to have to set to on with login. We're going to have to put PC login to has Tyler's date of birth, PC power is complete with the PC on. So they're the only ones that matter, I think. So let's just fire that up. I mean, part of me thinks, yeah, so there's something else not showing. Oh, do you know what? I think it is. I hid some of these when I was describing it earlier on the stream about what these buttons did. I think it might literally just be that I had some of them hidden. Let's run it again. No, at least I'm not going mad. Okay, at least we know. So it is this overlay screen. Yeah, the sprite render is turned off because the visibility on start of this is off. If it was on, because it starts off and you turn it on later, that sprite render gets turned on, so the PC actually comes on, but it's done in another part of the game. So I'm not sure why in the on start cutscene it's in amongst all of these here somewhere. So PC screen status, if it's on with login, overlay PC login, I think we need to just duplicate. Oh, another annoying thing, when you duplicate an action and it goes all the way up there, what does it do with that? So we need to turn the object visibility of overlay screen on to true. Give that a whirl, see if that fixes it. Yeah. I'm just now trying to think why it was working before. When you play the game, I did like a playthrough the other day from start to where I am now, and there was about 15 bugs that took me like a day to sort out. But yeah, that was all working up until this point. So if you follow the game through, that screen was lit. So something's gone wrong somewhere, but at least if my start scene is lighting it properly. So it's PC screen status on with login. Yeah. And I think, to be honest, because I now don't trust. Why does it throw it right the way up there? Because I don't trust that. I'm going to add the same action to there. If it comes down that chain, because we're going to come back to this and the email is going to be on the screen at some point. So what we're trying to do here is finish this cutscene, which I don't think I'm going to get time to do. But this reading email bit, this is where we're going to run a couple of things. So we have here a login bit, PC login, which has got an animator. 4 minutes, you can do it. That's the spirit. Can I do it in 4 minutes? I know what I need to do. I'm thinking through it. There is an animation that is got its own controller here. This login error thing, which steps through a few frames. It was drawn in a sprite. So let me remind myself. So it was in the office. Let's just get my sprite files, locations. Nope. Misc. It's not a rubber chicken. Not one of the items. I don't know where I drew it. So it's probably in the PC, close-up PC screen. So it's this little login box, and I think I did a little animation of it, yeah. So can you see where it's like typing in the like asterisks of the password? Did I do a correct? I didn't, did I? No. I didn't do ding, 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 and then login successful. I just had the incorrect one, which is part of the story earlier. So I'm not going to be able to run that at the moment, but at least let's run what we had. So the animator controller, it's got a login error thing. So we're going to have a login wrapper. So we're going to animate. What did I actually set it up as? This is frustrating. Let's find out how I did it before. So PC login with a hotspot that you clicked. There we go, complicated. All right, so that's where we did it. So this here goes nothing, and he logs in and it plays the login error one. So it's overlay PC login, and it was using sprites Unity. So so sprites Unity, overlay PC login. Yeah, it's because I'd done it that way. That's where we're going to play the clip. Let's just put a dialogue line in there for Clive. What an idiot. My DOB. Here goes nothing. Just thought of something else. I don't think I use Clive in this scene to talk. Oh no, I do. I worked out a way to do that, I think. Because Clive isn't in the scene, obviously, so I've actually made him I've made him small and behind all of this, so his text still appears. So he is actually there in the scene, he's just kind of hidden. So this is PC login cutscene. That's what we want to set. PC login cutscene is true. So when it comes into here, it fires off the other cutscene. I think. There you go. What an idiot. My DOB. There goes nothing. And that's going to play that. So let me just check what it was actually called. Login error with a capital L and a capital E after I said so many times on the stream I was never going to do camel case again. I do it all the time. Wait 1 second and then I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to see if we can just fudge this before it gets to the error bit. This is a total fudge. So does that, plays the animation. After 1 second, we're going to get rid of that overlay PC login. So object, visibility, overlay PC login, invisible, affect its children. So that should disappear after a second of that animation. So probably, hopefully before it just says error, and we can just fudge this for now. Let's have Clive say, oh, what am I doing? Dialogue. Unbelievable, unbelievable. We're in exclamation mark. Then we're going to just display the email. So object, visibility, I think it's called email. Email underscore, I don't know why I called it underscore, I think I've not finished typing it. Make that visible on the screen. Wait a couple of seconds. Dialogue. Document dialogue. Well. Right, let's just try that out. Because I'm concerned there's a couple of things that aren't going to quite work as I expect there. So let's just make all that a little bit bigger for the benefit of the stream. What an idiot. There goes nothing. Unbelievable high. Actually, it could be longer than that. Unbelievable. We're in, and then there's the email. Well. Excellent. How did I do, Kyle? Took me 8 minutes. 4 minutes past 10. Good enough. Right, so this is the opportunity then where we'll take out the letterboxes and things like that. So let me just do that last thing, I think. So, because this is the opportunity where the user then reads it. You let me off with the extra 4 minutes. So the last thing we want to do here is do a menu, turn off menu, letterbox, transition it off, and wait until it finishes, and then we drop out of that. Oh, actually, let me just change the timing of that. So I think we can get away with 2 seconds. Maybe even 3 seconds, but let's just do it 2 to see what happens. Yep, unbelievable, we're in. Bing. Yeah, I'm going to put a little like retro loading thing as well there. The letterbox wasn't there because we haven't come from the other cutscene. So what we should do is try and play this whole thing through from where I started tonight, and that'll be a nice little end to the stream, hopefully. So what do I need to do in order to do that? This cutscene, let's set that back to false. That's going to be true. I think we need to go right the way back to the other scene, which is the office. A spinning roll of carpet as the loading spinner. What a great idea. Yeah, no, that would be nice. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. Yeah, just give me something else to animate, Kyle. Why don't you? Yeah, a little or maybe like the floor for you logo, 2 Fs or something funny with, yeah. I mean, it would be lovely having a little carpet spinning to load his emails. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. Right, so what I want to do is just run this all through, check the cutscene we did, the Tyler Arrive one. I skipped a huge chunk of it there so that we didn't have to keep listening to the dialogue, so that needs to be hooked back up to there. It's going to run through all that dialogue and then kick us into that scene. So let's see if it all makes sense. Let's do it maximize so I can see it nicely on the stream. I think I've set everything back to what it needed to be. I think. Let's click play and find out, shall we? Yeah, so Tyler, what time do you call this? Sorry, Clive was attacked by a swan on the way to the bus stop. A swan in Stockton? Yeah, angry little blighted too. It stole my jacket. Things he comes up with, I never know when to believe him. Right, now you're finally here, I can't log into the PC. It's taken me most of the morning to get it powered back up. Oh yeah, sorry, the kettle was on the blink last night, so I borrowed the cable from the PC. Yes, I've established that now, but you changed the password to your date of birth. How am I supposed to know that? My date of birth? No, I left you a post note saying I'd change it to my DOB. Yes, exactly, your date of birth. No, literally, my DOB, just 5 letters. MYDOB. Jesus, Tyler, sometimes I wonder how you get through the day. Oh, sorry, Clive, thought it was obvious. Does that mean you haven't seen the email from head office about Manager of the Month? Manager of the Month? No, I haven't seen any emails. I'll get it logged in now. You'll like the email. I'll go clear up the Hoover and get the store opened. Off he goes. Press the button. What an idiot. My DOB. Here goes nothing. Blink, 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 blink. Unbelievable. We're in. Spinning carpet. We'll go there. There's the email. Well, well, well. And then the letterbox comes off. And then the user has control again. Done. Double thumbs up. Right. Well, that was exciting. 9 minutes longer than I expected. But yeah, it looks like it did manage to actually get through everything I hoped to try and do on the stream. So a little bit before the stream, I was just doing the cutscene before that. So it's one long cutscene which switches between the scene a couple of times, which has been troublesome. One thing I'm going to do on the next stream, I think, is when we get to the end of this Act 1. This is kind of the end of Act 1. You read the email, it says head office of someone's nominated you as Manager of the Month and that they're going to come and do a visit. So then you've kind of got to get the place ship shape, ready for them to come, and that involves a couple of other puzzle chain tasks, which are basically kind of tidying up, fixing something else. So just kind of mundane things to fit with the mundanity of the carpet store. But then that act, the stuff you need to do in the shop, and I'm thinking now I'm actually just going to duplicate the whole shop scene and have an Act 2 version of the shop scene, so that I'm not turning on and turning off and hiding so many different things that have now done, like the delivery driver and the Hoover and everything else, because it's all still in the scene. So I just thought that the other day, actually, whilst I was out walking the dogs, I thought, you know, I'm just going to make a duplicate of that room that is the Act 2 version, and then I'm not having to do loads of big on-scene enter events that are turning stuff on and off. So that's been it for tonight. Thank you again, all of you, Chris, and thanks, Kyle, and thanks, Voltic, for joining, and thanks for subscribing as well. I will try and do one next Sunday evening. That might not happen. I'm just saying that now, but I'll try and get another live stream in within 7 days. And I'll possibly even put a tutorial together, because I've not done a tutorial video for a while. I've just got a busy work week this week, so I might not get a chance. I'm going to do a tutorial based on dialogue options and conversations, because I've set one of them up recently. And yeah, reminding myself of a few things I've not done in a while. So again, thank you very much for joining. Hope to see some of you again, and I will publish this and make a thumbnail and try and do it before I go to sleep tonight. See you later, Kyle. See you later, Chris. See you later, Voltic. Thank you very much for being involved. Cheers.